Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin. Thanks for joining me today. Today we have an open box video where we're going to attack some crackouts and also talk about modern coins that you can actually still cherry pick. As always, when we produce a video like this, if we have any of these coins available for sale, they will end up being down in the video comment, not the comment section, but when you click on the video title, it'll drop down a menu showing you more words. And there you will have some listings. And hey, let's take a look and see what we did here. So this group of coins, I had a bunch of stuff that were in old PCI holders, and we went ahead and cracked them out here to see kind of how they'd come back. A 1974 Denver double die obverse. The other thing that's fun about this series of coins that we have for you today is that most of these are coins that you can actually just kind of cherry pick, and I will talk a little bit about the overall price points on things as well, so hopefully you can learn you can learn. How about that? So the 74D, this is actually one of my favorite modern half-dollar type varieties that you can actually cherry pick because you can actually see the doubling. So I'm everyone's eyes are different. Mine are getting differenter every day. But if you look at the R in trust on there and the S in trust and the T, you can really see the doubling on this coin. And so it's a type of coin that I see people pick out all the time, and all the time I mean, somebody who knows what they're doing other than myself. So when you look at this, this is a coin that, trades in MS64, which actually was the exact same grade that PCI had it graded. It's a coin that trades in roughly that $50 to $75 range. Nice looking coin. Actually, I thought that one might upgrade to a 5. But overall, on a coin like that, it's the type of thing that, in this grade, PCGS has over 600 graded with less than 200 graded higher. So for those of you who specialize in that coin, it's probably the type of thing that you're going to be looking for. In higher grades to try to get the real payback. So this one so PCI used to have this red label for things with environmental damage, which was actually pretty cool. It was pretty like, hey, in your face. But they still graded, straight graded. This is a 83 double die reverse, MS63 environmental damage. So there's been environmental damage a long time. And as you look at the coin, you'll see why. It does have environmental damage to it. And of course, it still came back. Environmental damage, UNC details, double die reverse on the 83. Let's look at this bad boy and see. Also a variety that's actually very visible. You can see here in the United way that it has a whole lot of doubling. In fact, the commentary here from the engineer who had some show notes on this, everything is visible on this coin, which makes it a really fun double die to collect. And a nice UNC coin is $200+. So this maybe will start at auction for $100+, something like that. It's kind of a cool piece. We'll see where it goes from there. Next up, we had a couple of 95 double dies. A lot of you are familiar with the 95 double die. One was in a 67 holder, and the other one was in a 66 holder. And we'll take a closer look at these guys. But we basically had a point downgrade on each to a 66 and a 65. So let's see if we can get a view of these. The 95 is not my favorite. It's just very popular when it came out. You can see it actually pretty clearly on this one here. I'm using my 20 power loop. The Liberty is the highest point of doubling on these guys here. So, but you'd have populations on these of the tens of thousands in all grades kind of thing. It's really a very heavy populated series. And you compare that, the 83, I don't have numbers for that 83 because it was an environmental damage coin. So I did not look that close, but these are actually pretty similar in price point in that $75-ish range. The higher graded coins, you can get these in 67 and in higher grades, and that's where the price points start to jump higher and higher. Of course, the higher the grade is. And then another coin that you can cherry pick is the 1984 double die obverse. This coin was graded MS60 90% red. and now it is an MS64 red brown. So kind of an interesting grade difference. 90% red to a red brown is, I think, somewhat expected, but that 60 was kind of an intriguing grade. So one of the things that's difficult on these to understand the exact pop reports is that when you look at PCGS, for example, they may have had some title changes or label changes. So this just says double die obverse, but some things are listed under the FS number, the FIVA Stanton number, and so you may have to look up multiple things to figure out what the actual pops are on these guys. But this particular coin, PCGS lists as 31 graded in this grade with 25 higher. And the doubling, sometimes this is referred to as the double ear. And of course, it's actually remarkably doubled. That earlobe is just, it feels like it's just inches away. I mean, it's like a really big difference. And so of the coins, especially when I was younger and I used to cherry pick, there was very few coins I would try to cherry pick. But the 84 double ear, that 83 double die reverse we looked at earlier, those are both coins that you can cherry pick. And I said I'd talk about the cost of things as well as the price points. So this coin itself is something that trades in that 150 to 200 range, probably settling in between those two numbers. But also the cost to get these certified, sometimes you got to click on the variety attribution. So, you know, you're going to be spending $25-ish a coin to get them certified. And that really starts to add up when you got a box full of coins to go through. And so at the end of the day, you know, you've got to be able to justify it. But if you're pulling coins out of circulation and getting them certified, you're probably going to do just fine on something like this. So the 72 double dies, there's a lot of different varieties, different FS numbers on there. And once again, trying to understand all of the ins and outs of the price points on these and the pops can be difficult because they might be listed as an FS 102 or 103, and then they might be listed. There's lots of ways that they're listed. So the 72 is a well-known double die, and of course it's especially doubled in the Liberty. And this coin here is something that came back in AU58, FS 102. And so this coin trades for about 50, 60, 70 bucks, something like that. And then we had a couple come back a little bit higher grade. We actually had a couple of really, really pretty coins that were raw. These were something that were in some old cardboard flips, but they just had a really, really stunning look to them overall. Super smooth looking coin. 66 red, and so this actually has a really scant pop. I mean, the pop on this coin is only 29 with 4 graded higher. So this may be getting up in that price point where you're talking about a $400, $500 coin with the scarcity of the overall population. And then the other one that we had come back, also a 66 red, but this is the FS 103. So there's a slight difference on that. This is a population of 91 and 5. So people get down to the nitty gritty and start talking about the differences between which die variety it is. And so that is something that can affect the grades for people who collect these. I mean, I always looked at the double die obverse as just kind of like one, the 72 double die is just like one type. But there are several different subtypes. And once again, that can really give you a little bit of some difficulty understanding the populations on the coins because, you know, in my mind, I just want to look at the double die obverse as one thing, but of course there are several different. And then of course also, for those of you who don't know, when you look at PCGS pop reports, there are grades for red and red brown and brown. And next up, we're moving to some more coins that generally speaking, the engineer pulled out to send in, and there's even a note on some of them, you know, for the grades he was hoping to get, but then also there was a section that just said, don't worry about it. And I suppose that message was for me. So, because they're coins that you don't normally think about sending in to get graded, but usually if there's a coin that's a modern coin that looks really nice, has a chance at being kind of a higher grade, or if it has some nice toning to it, we'll send them in and just kind of have fun with that. And sometimes people really like that stuff. And as always, I tell people, you know, don't necessarily get these things graded yourself. Just buy them graded already if you like them graded. This came back in MS65. And there's also some notes on here saying things like NFS, which stands for not for sale, grade set. So I'm starting to think this may be the engineer's way of saying, like, anything that didn't come back the grade he wanted, we're just going to keep and put into a quote-unquote grade set. So that coin, that 1970D and MS65, actually trades for about 40 bucks. So if you pulled it out of a mint set and got it graded, technically you made money as long as you don't count any labor costs. All right, 1963. This is another one that people can and do pull out as a double die. This is a doubling of In God We Trust. And let me see if I can get an angle that shows it pretty okay. Actually, I think right about there you can start to see some of the doubling. I'm seeing some doubling action in all the lettering. And my vision's getting so bad that when I see double dies, I'm like, wait, is that just how my eyes work now? So we look at the O really has some cool doubling to it. The D, I can see it in the E there. Yeah, it's just like an eye chart test right now. MS64, FS101 on this guy. In MS64, you're a coin that is also probably about a $60 coin. So this is the type of coin you can cherry pick and find from 90% silver. So maybe you're into the coin for 20 bucks, 30 bucks total with your grading fees, that type of thing. 76D, also a double die obverse on this guy. We're going to look at the T and the Y and the word liberty on this one and see if we can pick it up with the camera, the doubling. And if I can get it at the right angle here, this one's a little bit harder to see. That In God We Trust is pretty good. Like I said, some of these guys are not my favorite to try to see, and then to try to capture on video can be even harder. But we may get some still close-ups once in a while from the engineer as needed to set up a better look. This is the type of thing that's harder for me to see. MS65 on this guy. And so you'd be looking at a coin that in this grade is probably about $150, so pretty good. The pop on this is only 57 with 27 finer, so a pretty small population set on this guy in general. Okay, let's find some more coins here that we messed up on and are not for sale. Actually, this is really a pretty coin. So Eisenhower dollars in high grade that are the clad Unk coins are actually a very, very difficult series to collect. And I can understand actually why this coin was sent in. It has a great look to it for an Ike. We like Ike. High-grade Ikes are tough. This coin, interestingly enough, there's a note on here. It says something like $200 with CAC. I got to see if he means that all the coins I want to send to CAC, they don't take for stickering anyways. So MS65. But do they take Ikes? That just seems out of place. All right, so this coin also possibly not for sale in that $20 ballpark range, but I have a feeling that an MS66 sells for a lot on this coin, and versus a 65. I kind of got a feeling there's a pretty big price jump on those coins. And so the 72S, this one's trickier. This one, so the silver ones come really, really nice, especially the 72s. And a coin like this, you really need to hit like a 68 or nicer to kind of be in the high end of the money on this. This may end up also in a grading set, unfortunately, as it came back to 67. So, you know, this has a really high population. You're looking at, 13,000 plus graded with over 3,000 graded higher. By the way, if I didn't mention that 1974 coin had a population of under 2,000 with a step up of 350 coins. So, and that's oftentimes what people look at on the modern coins. They don't look at the pops. I still believe highly that the population reports themselves don't matter as much as the actual availability in the marketplace. Next up, the 76 clad, another coin that was really, really bonkers. A friend of mine actually just made like a top pop for a clad coin like this. and you know the coin's now worth like a gazillion dollars. So this coin here, you know, not the type of coin that typically you'd think about sending in and getting graded unless you think it can come back top pop. This coin came back a 66, and yeah, it's something that there's 829 in this grade with 259 graded higher. Obviously, it's always, just like we talk about with all of the quarters, whatever grade you think it is, just subtract a grade. But you know, I had a Washington quarter that was a modern coin in 68, and it looked every bit as nice as this coin. I can understand why he sent this in. This feels like a 66 is a little bit light on that one. A coin that if it's for sale is about a $30 or $40 type coin. Next up, so this 67 from a special mint set. Some of these just come like really gorgeous, the special mint coins. And this is one where, once again, you're really looking for a top pop to be able to consider getting it graded, or you're looking for a PL designation or a cameo designation. That's kind of like the secret sauce on these guys, is to get those SMS coins, those special mint coins, to have one of those designations, or maybe a star designation if you're sending it in NGC. So this coin came back a 67 red, and that is a coin that you know, the population is 1357 with only 129 graded higher. So of course, as always, we wanted to get at least an 8 out of that, so we got a 7. And so once again, a coin that's not that expensive, probably only worth whatever the grading fees were, possibly not for sale for our quote-unquote grading set. Next up, the 1969 Denver Mint Dime. Once again, a coin that you don't normally see that looks quite this nice. Just overall, a very pleasing coin with just heavy bright luster and little to no contact marks on it. And this one fascinates me because an MS67, so this coin, there's only 77 graded, so like basically 1.5 per state could get a 67 with only 5 graded higher. And with that being said, you know, the coin lists for very little, like 40 or 50 bucks, and it just seems like, I guess people aren't collecting clad Roosevelt dimes, right, from the 60s and 70s, because based on the pop report, and this is once again why I say the pop reports don't matter, the, you know, overall availability in the market and the market demand is what really matters, because realistically, if everything was based on pop report, this coin would be super expensive. Next up, a 1969 Philly that undoubtedly was sent in. I think it was sent in actually because it had a little bit of some color. You can see the difference between that last coin and this one with a lot of little marks on the face and the neckline there. But it actually has, at a distance, a little bit of a purple tone to it, a bluish tone to it. And unfortunately, I think that the True Views, which is what this was sent in for, didn't really kind of make the coin pop. So that was, I think, the hope on this particular coin, which came back in MS63, which is, of course, not exactly the collector grade you want. So we'll see. Maybe we'll auction that guy off just for the fun of it. Couple left here, which were also sent in just for their color and to try to get a nice true view on them. So this coin here, the true view, I think also did not turn out quite as cool looking as the coin does. You know, a flat view of the coin has a just kind of general purplish red look to it. The coin itself is kind of orange. 65 red brown is how the coin itself came back. This is a coin that will probably go ahead and auction. I think it actually has a really cool look to it. What's interesting to me is, you know, once again, pop reports. In the 65 red brown, now mind you, that's a very different pop than the reds. Most people are sending in red coins. So I'm guessing the population in red is huge, whereas this coin, there's only 24 and 7. So 24 in this grade with only 7 graded higher. But once again, you're comparing red-brown versus red grades. And so that's going to be very different. Yeah, it's actually a pretty cool coin. Once again, I don't know that the that the TrueView actually did it justice. Last but not least, this was the same thing. This was taken, this is a mint product that actually has just kind of a fun little tone to it. What's interesting is at a straight look, it almost looks like a normal silver, and then you get it kind of sideways. It just has a gentle, like bluish teal hue to it. And so they just sent that in to get a little bit of a cool looking TrueView, and I don't know that it came out really as lovely as we wanted to. MS68, once again, not the type of thing people normally send in to get graded. Just sometimes on the modern coins, if it's got a little color to it and we think it's nice enough, we'll send it off and get it certified just for the heck of it, for y'all to have some fun with it. So anyways, thanks so much for joining us today, guys. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.